not easy. There
No.
has been a lot about the business that I've had to learn. I've learned a lot about myself throughout this journey so far. Probably the most challenging thing is not letting fear hold me back and just pushing outside my comfort zone and doing things I've never done before, doing things that are really difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning a lot along the way, but it's definitely not easy. Um, Anybody who tells you that entrepreneurship is easy is lying to you. It's not easy for any
Yeah.
of us.
No.
But just doing things that make me uncomfortable on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis. And
Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. On today's episode, I have Addison, and she does healthy treats that are like super awesome. And I know they're good, so I can't wait for her to tell you more about them. So, Addison, can you just give us a little bit of your story?
sure. Well, thank you for having me on your show, Nick. I'm so excited to connect with your audience and tell my story and hopefully inspire some people. So, I was a college soccer player. And when I graduated from college, I started training for a marathon. And as I was running, I would lose feeling in my legs. My
Wow.
legs would become completely numb. And I
Mm-hmm.
had doctors tell me that I have something called compartment syndrome. So it's a like a blood circulation and inflammation issue. And
Okay.
they said you have two choices. You can quit running forever, or you can get surgery on both of your legs and be out of all exercise for a year. And I didn't want to choose either one of those options. And one
Yep.
of my aunts who I was training with, she recommended that I become gluten free
Mm-hmm.
because she's gluten free and she's also a marathon runner. So I thought, I'm desperate to feel normal. Let's give this a go. And
Yep.
in July of 2016, I became gluten free. And within 3 to 4 days, I could run normally again. And
Wow. That's
it,
that's like incredible. Like
it was,
amazing.
thank you. It really felt like my life changed overnight. And
Mm-hmm.
so as soon as I was able to start running again, I realized how much food affects the way we feel and the way we
Mm-hmm.
perform. And so I started doing a lot of research about being gluten free and what goes into our food. And I was pretty disappointed with the food industry in general, just because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what goes into our food isn't even real food.
No,
It's
it's terrible.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
I started documenting this process on Instagram under the Instagram name Organically Addison.
Mm-hmm.
And I started posting gluten free recipes and I started my blog, organicallyaddison.com. And I started getting messages from people saying, everything you're baking looks so delicious. How can we buy this from you? So I
Yeah.
launched Sweet Addisons in January of 2024. And
Mm-hmm.
I bake and sell gluten free, dairy free, refined sugar free cookies and brownies.
That's amazing. It's so cool because a lot of us entrepreneurs, we solve a problem for ourselves, and then that ends up turning into a business because we can help others. So I think that's really inspiring that, you took your circumstances and helped yourself, and then you're like, oh, hey, people are interested. Now I can help more people. So that's incredible.
Thank you. I really want to help other people, especially those who are gluten free or have another food allergy, because it can be very difficult to feel normal and included.
Yep.
And, I can't just go to any restaurant and order whatever I want off the menu. I have to
Mm-hmm.
be very careful about what I'm eating.
Yeah.
So I just want to provide a healthy, delicious tasting dessert option for those of us who have food allergies, but also for those of us who don't have food allergies. I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to create a product that can be loved by anybody
Mm-hmm.
and can bring people together more than anything.
Yeah. And that's really hard to do. Make something healthy for everyone but yet make it taste good. That can be very hard, but you did it. So good for
Thank
you. That's awesome.
thank you. I spent a lot of time on the recipes and had some taste testers help me out, lots of family and
Hmm.
friends, and getting their feedback. And when it comes to my products, I'm a perfectionist. I would
Hmm.
never release a cookie or a brownie that I wasn't obsessed with. Um,
Yep.
so I'm very particular about the ingredients that I use, but also the texture and the flavor. I've eaten so many different gluten-free products out
Hmm.
there, and it can be very disappointing when you're spending more money than the normal
Yeah.
product, so to speak, and it just is disappointing. So I
Hmm.
really spent a lot of time and I was very patient with coming up with these recipes to make sure that they are the best of the best.
That's amazing. So for anybody listening, where can they find your products right now?
So I ship nationwide through my website. It's
Hmm.
sweetaddisons.com.
Awesome.
On Instagram, I'm sweet.addisons. And then I'm in a few small retailers here in Dallas, Texas,
Hmm.
but hopefully we'll be expanding further on that.
Oh yeah, I know you will. I know you will.
Thank
You're
you.
you're gonna take this a long way, so it's really awesome. So
Thank you.
yeah, anybody listening, go to sweetaddisons.com and get your goodies right now because I know that they are delicious. So go get them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So how has your entrepreneurship journey been? Like, what would you say has been the most exciting thing?
The most exciting thing and my favorite thing about this business has been the customer feedback. I
Yeah.
realize that most people who aren't gluten free will never consume gluten free things because they taste
Hmm.
different, they taste weird, they're more
Yep.
expensive. So when I launched this company, I thought my target demographic would be gluten free, dairy free people.
Hmm.
And I have been blown away by the response. I mean, there are so many five-star reviews on my website, and I'm so thankful for that. But
Hmm.
the biggest compliment that someone could give me is I typically don't like gluten-free things, but I love these,
Yeah.
or I don't necessarily care about my health and, what goes into these. I just love the flavor. And to me, that's what it's all about is really bridging the gap between those of us who have food allergies and people who don't. We
Yep.
don't have to be eating separate products necessarily. I wanted to
Hmm.
create something that everybody can enjoy. So the most exciting thing has by far been the response. I get messages every single day from people, and some of them have been incredibly heartwarming. I've had
Hmm.
people cry and say, this reminds me of my childhood bakery, and I never thought I'd feel like I was eating a normal cookie again. And so just being part of people's memories and bringing them joy is
Hmm.
definitely the most exciting part.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I know exactly what you're talking about. You get your either customers' feedback or just people online who just like what you're doing, like all the nice things that people say. Like that to me is more valuable than getting paid for a service. You know, I just I love helping people, and I love seeing that I am helping people. And so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is. So, what has been the most challenging thing for you?
There have been several challenges along the way. I mean, just being an entrepreneur in general is
Hmm.
not easy. There
No.
has been a lot about the business that I've had to learn. I've learned a lot about myself throughout this journey so far. Probably the most challenging thing is not letting fear hold me back and just pushing outside my comfort zone and doing things I've never done before, doing things that are really difficult. And
Hmm.
I'm learning a lot along the way, but it's definitely not easy. Um, Anybody who tells you that entrepreneurship is easy is lying to you. It's not easy for any
Yeah.
of us.
No.
But just doing things that make me uncomfortable on a daily
Hmm.
basis and
Hmm.
really not letting fear hold me back. That's been the most challenging part.
Yep. one of my mentors, Grant Cardone, he always says, get used to being uncomfortable. Like, just get used to it, and it'll get easier. Because the more you do those things that right now are uncomfortable, the more you do them, the easier they get. And then, after you do it so many times, it's like, oh, this is easy. Like, what was I so scared of?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm familiar with Grant Cardone. He's built up a
Hmm.
real estate empire.
Oh yeah.
And that is really great advice, is just as an entrepreneur, you're going to be doing things that are scary and difficult
Hmm.
every single day. And you have to get used to that. It's just part of the business.
Yep, exactly. I do it every day, just like you.
Mhm.
And some days you get up and you just don't feel like doing anything. But what do? We push through and get things done because that's what we have to do. In order to create the business that we want, we have to keep pushing every day. And the cool thing about doing that is, like, once you start, like, spending a lot of time on your business, it really becomes like, what you do. It's just, it becomes normal. Like me, like I'm working on my business for 10 to 12, 14 hours a day. And at first doing that, I did experience a burnout, and you still get a little bit of that here and there, but it's like the more you do it like that, like the more you get used to it. It becomes your new norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it makes you a better person at the end of the
It
day,
does.
or I should say, it makes you a better version of yourself,
Mhm.
because you have to rise to new heights and you have to learn all
Mhm.
these things. And I think that we grow the most when we are outside our comfort zone,
Mhm.
because it pushes us to learn new things, to have new experiences. So I'm
Mhm.
really, as tough as it is some days, I'm really grateful for that.
Yep, exactly. And like another part of that, because you keep talking about growing and improving yourself, you know, if you want that, say a $10 million business, well, you have to turn into a person that has a $10 million business. You know, you can't stay where you were and have that business. You gotta grow with it.
Mhm.
So I love that you said that.
That's a good point, is everybody started somewhere.
Mm,
And
yeah.
even the most successful business people didn't start out being the CEO of a $1 billion company. They
Yep.
started out as someone with a passion, and they had
Mhm.
to work their way, up the ladder. And that's a
Mhm.
really good point, is that nobody's born being the CEO of a $1 billion company. You have to
Yep.
grow and evolve and mold yourself into that. And
Mhm.
it's a work in progress every day.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I love that you just said that, and I completely agree.
Yep. Yep. I wake up every morning and I tell myself I have to be at least 1% better today than I was yesterday.
Mhm. It's
So
and that compounds over time, and you just keep getting better
it
and better,
does.
and that's awesome.
Yep. It really does. So to new entrepreneurs, what is like one or two tips that you would give someone?
Always be curious. I
Mm.
remember for the second half of 2023, when I was gearing up for an early 2024 launch, I connected with probably 60 to 70 different people via Zoom who are in
Mhm.
the food industry, and found most of them on LinkedIn, and then, mutual connections, and, oh, you should talk to this person, you should talk to that person. And so I probably had 60 to 70 Zoom calls with people in the food world. And I just asked
Mhm.
them so many questions. I would basically say, this is what I'm trying to build, but I've never built something like this before. What advice would you
Yeah.
have for me? Or tell me about your experience doing this or building that. And I think it's so important to constantly be learning, which goes back to your
Mhm.
last point of nobody's born a CEO. I mean, it's something that you have to become, and
Mhm.
you should always be growing and learning. And that would be, a big tip. But I think my number one biggest tip is just to not let fear hold you back and to never give up.
Hmm.
It's really hard to beat somebody who never gives up. So just
Yep.
continue to show up day after day. And if you're willing to put in the time and effort and you're willing to challenge yourself to learn more and grow every day,
Hmm.
you will be successful.
Yep. I love that. Your first one is networking. Be curious. Network with people who have done what you want to do. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's huge. That's amazing. And then push yourself outside your comfort zone and
Mhm,
never, ever, ever, ever give up. That's that's the key right there because most businesses fail within like 3 years.
mhm,
So if and it's just because they give up and they don't find the right resources and the knowledge that they need to keep going.
mhm.
So I love that you said that. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
So how many different products do you have right now?
I have 5 different products, 4 different types of
Awesome.
cookies and brownies.
And I remember you saying that they're a pretty large serving size.
Yes. So the cookies
Mhm.
are all 4 ounces each, which is the equivalent of a quarter cup of dough. And
Mhm.
then the brownies are even larger. They're about 4.5 to 5 ounces. So they're almost a third of a cup of batter. So they're
That's
really
awesome.
big. And the reason I
Mhm.
did that was I wanted people to feel like they're really getting a great value. But at
Mhm.
the same time, I've had a lot of gluten-free cookies in the past that are really small and they're
Mhm.
flat and dry. And so I wanted to emulate the childhood bakery that I grew up, going
Mhm.
to and really enjoying. And when I think about desserts from my childhood, I think about like big, thick, soft,
Mhm.
fluffy desserts. And so that's what I
Mhm.
wanted to create.
Well, I love that they made everything bigger than like most other companies, and I think that's really important. And really shows that you care about your customer. You want them to feel like they got value out of what they bought from you, and I think that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
thank you. At the end of the day, it's all about the customer, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. So
Exactly. Yeah.
the biggest goal of mine is customer satisfaction. I want people
Hmm.
to really enjoy these desserts. I want them to bring hope and joy and happiness and family memories to people. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, this isn't about me whatsoever. This is about
Hmm.
creating a community of people who, love these treats and, are better off for it. So it
Yeah.
really is all about the customer. And I'm not just saying that, like I go above and beyond with customer service and shipping out orders early and to the ingredients that I use. Like I could make a much better margin on this product if I wanted to use lesser quality ingredients, but I don't.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason that the cocoa powder that I use is $14 a pound. It's a very
Hmm.
specialty cocoa powder, and to me, that's what makes the brownies totally unique and something you can't find elsewhere. But could I
Hmm.
go to the grocery store and get the $3 per pound cocoa? I sure could, but I don't want
Hmm.
to because I want to create something really special for my audience.
Yep. That's amazing. So once again, can you tell the audience where to find your products?
Sure. www.sweetaddisons. So that's SWEETADDISONS.com.
Awesome. I just want to make sure we give everybody the chance to hit your website. So that's awesome. I know I'll be going there right after we're done recording because now you got my sweet tooth going and I'm getting kind of hungry. So I'll be checking out your website when we get done.
Oh, good. And I offer a 10% welcome discount for new people to order. So they can use code
Awesome.
welcome10,
Hmm.
welcome10, for
Hmm.
10% off their first order. And the reason I do that is I just want as many people to be able to try these as possible, and
Yep.
hopefully love them. So I have a lot of repeat customers, which is great. I
Hmm.
also offer a weekly or twice monthly subscription, so you can save 15% that way. And I
That's
have a lot
awesome.
of subscribers, which is really cool. And people will tell me, I look forward to my delivery every week. And it's incredibly rewarding for me.
That's awesome, and you're doing it the right way. You know, with this day and age, everybody loves something they can just subscribe to, and it just automatically gets delivered. You don't have to think about it. You know,
Right.
that's what we all like. You know, I use subscription services all the time because it's just like you set it, you forget it, it shows up at your door, you're good to go.
Absolutely. I agree.
So yeah, well, keep going. You're rocking it, and you know I love what you're doing. So
Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. It's been a journey. This is the most fun and challenging job I've ever had. And I come from a finance
hmm
background. I did not have an easy job before this, but this is
yep.
around the clock, manual labor, a lot of baking, but also making, higher level decisions. And right now I'm in a place where I'm the head baker, but I'm also the CEO and I'm also the janitor and I'm also the copywriter, and it's so fun and it's so exciting, and I've just
Yep.
been very encouraged by the response that I've seen from people.
hmm
um, the best is when I have a lot of women who buy from me. My audience online is a lot of women, but the best is
hmm
when they say, oh, my husband loves this and my husband never likes anything that's healthy. And I'm like, well, okay, then I'm onto something here, so
Yeah, you are.
yeah, I just can't emphasize enough, like truly how much fun this business is. And
hmm
by far, the best part has been connecting with customers and also connecting with people in
hmm
real life, and just like doing farmers markets. So much fun for me. I
Yep.
do I do one in Dallas here every Saturday, and it's been a couple months of doing that, and I've just met incredible people. I had some woman the other day come up to my farmers market tent, and she said, the only reason I got out of bed this morning was to come here and buy your cookies.
hmm
And it's so fulfilling and rewarding. And it's brought me to
hmm
tears because I'm just so happy and so thankful for this business.
hmm
So thank you for allowing me to come on and tell my story to your audience. And I can't wait to see the connections that come from this.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. It's gonna be awesome.
It will.
And more than likely that down the road we'll have to do another one where you can give an update on everything you're doing because I know you're just getting started.
Yeah, let's do an update. That would be super.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Oh, your abilities are infinite. You're putting me on the spot here. Your abilities are infinite. To me, that would mean that we can always do more than we think. And it's easy to look at a business or a problem and think, I can't do that. It's too challenging.
hmm
But when it comes down to it, we're really so much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And there's so many things that we can do that might seem daunting at the start. I remember when I was training for my first marathon, I had never run more than 7 miles. And
hmm
I thought 26 miles, I mean, that is so far. Like even 26 miles to drive is far, let alone
yep.
try to run that. I mean, 26-mile bike ride is far. And it
hmm
just seemed like this big, crazy goal. But in the back of my mind, I told myself, you're going to train for this. You're strong, you're capable, you're mentally tough. If you put in enough effort, you will get there. It's not going to be easy, but if you
hmm
work super hard, you will get there someday. And sure enough, 8 months after doctors said you're too sick to run, I crossed the finish line in my first 26.2-mile race. And
That's awesome.
I thought, I can do anything. Like that's truly, I thought, I mean, I was exhausted. I was cold. I
hmm
was dizzy. I was hungry. But I thought, I just did that. And that seemed like a almost next to impossible goal. Um,
hmm
Especially because I had been so sick and so unable to run. And in just 8 months, I could do a full marathon. And so I think people need to realize that they need to give themselves more credit, and their abilities will take them farther than they ever think, but they just have to try. You can't
hmm
sit back and think, oh, it's too difficult. No.
hmm
Think about when you're on your deathbed someday, are you going to look back on your life and think, I let fear hold me back? Or are you going to think, I really gave it everything I had and I have no regrets?
You were incredible. You know, and what that what my slogan means to you is the closest that anybody has said to
Oh,
what it actually means to me. I believe you're episode number 66, and out of 66 guests, you got the closest to what I think it means, and that is you can do much more than you think, and just I like to say, don't say I can't, instead say how can I.
I
So yeah,
that
yeah.
just to go off of what you just said, it just made me
Mhm.
think of something is I was a college soccer player and one of my teammates in college said, no one on this team is allowed to say the word can't. It's
Mhm.
off limits. You cannot say the word can't. You you aren't allowed to say I can't do this
Mhm.
or I can't think like that or whatever.
Mhm.
Can't is off the table. You are not
Mhm.
allowed to say that word. And it's stuck with me to this day, even, years later, is it's so easy to just think I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not enough this. But just like you said, let's reframe the I can't do this to how can I do this or how can I figure
Mhm.
this out? And it's probably not going to be easy, but there are
Mhm.
always things that we can be doing to figure things out. I really truly believe that you can figure out anything
Yep.
through your network, through Google, YouTube. I mean, there's so many resources and things at our fingertips. I had no
Mhm.
idea how to start a food business a year ago. I had no idea what I was doing. And if I had
Mhm.
sat back and used that word can't and said, I can't do this, well, my life would look very different and it would be a lot
Mhm.
less fulfilling. And I wouldn't have met all these cool people. I was just saying to someone the other day that in the last 6 months of running this business, I've met some of my favorite people I've ever met. And I just thought,
Mhm.
if I had never pursued this, I would be missing out on all of this.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
just really encourage people to push past that fear. I know it's scary, but we have to be
Mhm.
courageous and we have to be bold.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. I feel the same way. I started my business a little over a year ago, and the people that I have met are my favorite people. Like they just are. They're just incredible,
Mhm,
and it's like you meet a whole like new category of people,
mhm,
and like entrepreneurs, we're all out to help each other, which is just incredible.
mhm.
So yeah, I agree.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. And if anyone wants to find you on social media, where can they find you?
On Instagram, I'm sweet.addisons. And then on Facebook, Sweet Addisons. And then on TikTok, Eat Sweet Addisons. And then I got my start on Instagram at organically Addison. So lots of social media
Okay,
there. If you find one of those, you can circle back and find all the rest. They're all connected. So yeah, I
awesome,
would love people to connect with me there. Send me a message and tell me that you heard me on this show. And I'm very excited for that.
awesome. And I'll drop all your links in the show notes so everybody can find you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Addison, this has been really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.